Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcast and Chill on the Learn English Podcast channel.
Thanks for tuning in again. We love having you here with us.
You know, Gwen, one thing I've noticed is how much our audience loves topics about developing their thinking skills.
That's true, Leo. It makes sense. They're probably looking for ways to improve their English learning process.
Absolutely. Speaking of improving, Gwen, have you ever heard about growth mindset and fixed mindset?
Of course, Leo. A growth mindset is all about believing that your abilities can grow with effort and learning, while a fixed mindset assumes your abilities are set in stone.
Oh, so if I believe I can be the next big comedian by practicing every day, that's a growth mindset?
Well, let's not get carried away, Leo. But yes, it's about believing in improvement.
Great. Because today's topic is all about how adopting a growth mindset can help you in your language learning journey and beyond.
That's right. Stick around and we'll break it all down. And don't forget, we've created a free PDF with tips and tricks. Check it out in the description or comments below.
So, Gwen, growth mindset, it sounds fancy, but what is it really?
Well, Leo, it's the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and skills can improve through hard work, learning, and persistence.
So it's like saying, I'm not good at this yet.
Exactly. It's about focusing on progress, not perfection. People with a growth mindset see mistakes as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
That's refreshing. So, if I mess up my English grammar, it's not the end of the world?
Not at all. It's just a chance to learn and get better. In fact, studies by Stanford professor Carol Dweck show that embracing challenges helps you grow stronger mentally.
Oh, I've heard about her work. She talks about how kids who believe they can improve do better in school, right?
Exactly. And it's not just kids. This works for adults, too. It's like the phrase, "You're never too old to learn."
I like that. But how do I actually develop this magical mindset?
Start by seeing challenges as opportunities. For example, if you find English pronunciation difficult, think of it as a fun puzzle to solve.
Oh, like trying to say rural without twisting my tongue?
Exactly. And don't shy away from mistakes. Remember, every mistake is proof that you're trying.
That's comforting. But sometimes, failure feels so personal. Like, what if I'm just not good at something?
That's where you reframe your thinking. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," ask, "What can I do to get better?"
I like that perspective. So, effort plays a big role here?
Absolutely. Think of effort like watering a plant. Without it, nothing grows.
And what about persistence? How does that fit in?
Persistence is key. It's like climbing a mountain. Slow and steady wins the race. You keep going, one step at a time, even when it's hard.
So, no shortcuts then?
Not if you want real growth. Shortcuts might give you quick results, but they don't build the long-term skills or resilience you need.
But isn't it tempting to take the easy way out?
Of course it is. But think about it this way. When you take a shortcut, you miss out on valuable lessons along the way.
So, the journey is just as important as the destination?
Exactly. Imagine learning English just by memorizing words for a test. You might pass the test, but will you be able to have a real conversation?
I get it now. It's like building a house without a strong foundation. It might look good for a while, but it won't last.
That's a great analogy, Leo. Growth mindset is about taking the time to build that strong foundation.
And what about patience? Do you think it's connected to this whole no shortcuts idea?
Definitely. Patience teaches you to value the effort you're putting in. It's like planting a tree. You water it every day, but it takes time to grow and bear fruit.
Oh, I like that image. So every time I make a mistake, it's like watering my tree a little more?
Exactly. Mistakes are part of growth. They show you're trying, and trying is the first step to improving.
And when I finally see the fruit, it'll taste even sweeter because I've worked for it.
That's the mindset. Growth isn't about perfection, it's about progress.
Got it. From now on, no shortcuts for me. I'll water my tree every day, even if it takes time.
And trust me, Leo, it'll be worth it.
Let's take a closer look at 5 useful phrases from today's conversation. 1. Growth mindset. A belief that abilities and skills can improve through effort and learning. Example. A growth mindset helps you see mistakes as lessons instead of failures.
2. Face the music. To confront a difficult situation rather than avoiding it. Example. Instead of avoiding challenges, it's better to face the music and grow from them.
3. A stepping stone. A step or stage that helps you move closer to your goal. Example. Every small success is a stepping stone toward greater achievements.
4. Break the mold. To do something differently and move away from traditional ways. Example. Adopting a growth mindset means breaking the mold of thinking you're just not good enough.
5. Go the extra mile. To make extra effort to achieve something. Example. People with a growth mindset are willing to go the extra mile to improve themselves. Now let's dive into some discussion questions. Question 1. What's one challenge you faced recently, and how did you overcome it?
For me, I tried learning a new skill, but it was frustrating at first. Then I reminded myself that it's all part of the process.
That's a great example, Gwen. It's inspiring to hear how you stayed motivated.
Question 2. How can we apply a growth mindset in learning English?
I think the key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Celebrate small wins, like mastering a new word or phrase.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're stepping stones to improvement.
What about you, listeners? How do you approach challenges in learning? Let us know in the comments. So, Gwen, we've talked about growth mindset and overcoming challenges. What's next?
Let's talk about feedback.
Oh, feedback. You mean like when I tell a joke and you say it's not funny?
Well, not quite. Feedback is a tool to improve, not just criticism.
I guess that depends on how you take it, right?
That's the key. A growth mindset helps us see feedback as an opportunity to grow, not a personal attack.
That makes sense. So, how can we take feedback positively?
Start by asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of thinking, they're being mean, think, how can this help me improve?
I like that. It's like turning lemons into lemonade.
That's right. Another thing to keep in mind is surrounding yourself with positivity.
You mean like hanging out with people who lift you up?
Yes, whether it's friends, colleagues, or a community, being around people who encourage a growth mindset can make a huge difference.
Oh, so it's like planting yourself in good soil to grow.
Good comparison, Leo.
Okay, but what about practical steps? How do we actually build a growth mindset?
Start by trying something new every month. It could be learning a skill, trying a recipe, or even taking on a small project at work.
That sounds fun. What else?
Ask more questions instead of making negative statements. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, ask, how can I get better at this?
I like that. It's like flipping the script in your head.
That's the idea. Finally, keep a journal of what you learn each day.
That's great advice, Gwen. I feel like asking questions instead of focusing on what we can't do helps a lot.
Yeah, Leo. It's all about shifting your perspective. For example, instead of saying, I can't understand this grammar, you could ask, what steps can I take to learn it better?
Oh, like turning a wall into a door. That's powerful.
Exactly. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities.
What about when things don't work out, though? Like, you try something new and fail. That can be discouraging.
That's a big part of a growth mindset, Leo. Instead of seeing failure as the end, you can view it as feedback.
So, it's like a roadmap. Failure shows you where to take a better route.
For instance, if you try to speak English and make mistakes, that's not failure. It's a sign of progress.
I guess every mistake is like a stepping stone.
That's a great way to think about it. Let's talk more about creating a supportive environment.
You mean surrounding yourself with people who inspire you?
Exactly. Think about it. If you're around people who encourage you, you're more likely to keep going even when things get tough.
So it's like having a cheering squad for your goals.
Yes, and it's also important to be that kind of person for others.
Like a positivity ripple effect.
That's right. The more positive energy you put out, the more you'll get back.
And what about those practical steps we mentioned earlier? Let's expand on that.
Sure. Here's a simple example. If you're learning a language, set a goal to learn 5 new words a day. It's small but adds up over time.
That's manageable. What else?
Another idea is to track your progress. Write down what you learn each day. It helps you see how far you've come.
Oh, so it's like giving yourself a high five in writing.
Yes, these small steps can make a big difference over time.
Listeners, what small steps have helped you grow? Let us know in the comments. Let's pick 5 phrases from today's discussion that can inspire us. 1. Build from the ground up. To start something from the very beginning and develop it step by step. Example: she built her language skills from the ground up by practicing daily.
2. Learn through trial and error. To improve by trying different methods and learning from mistakes. Example: he learned to cook through trial and error, testing different recipes until he got it right.
3. Take ownership. To accept responsibility for your actions and focus on making progress. Example: taking ownership of her studies helped her improve her grades significantly.
4. Keep pushing forward. To continue making progress even when things are difficult. Example: despite the challenges, he kept pushing forward and achieved his goals.
5. Shift your perspective. To change the way you view a situation to find new opportunities or solutions. Example: she shifted her perspective and saw challenges as opportunities to grow. Let's start with a question, Gwen. How do you personally step out of your comfort zone?
I'd say I challenge myself by trying something unfamiliar, like speaking in front of a crowd. It's nerve-wracking but rewarding.
Wow, that sounds brave. For me, I try smaller things, like learning to bake a new cake. It's less scary but still makes me step out a little.
That's a great start. Taking small steps is still growth. Okay, here's another one for you, Leo. What's one failure you've experienced, and how did you turn it around?
I remember burning my first attempt at making bread, but instead of giving up, I tried again the next day. The second loaf was pretty good.
That's a fun example. It shows persistence really pays off.
And you, Gwen? How do you handle failure?
I try to reflect on what went wrong and learn from it. Like when I didn't do well in a presentation, I practiced more and asked for feedback. It made all the difference.
That's inspiring. What about you, audience? How do you overcome challenges or failure? Let us know in the comments below. That wraps up today's episode about building a growth mindset.
We hope you feel inspired to embrace challenges, learn from feedback, and keep pushing forward.
And remember, even small steps can lead to big changes.
Don't forget to check out the free PDF in the description for tips and exercises to help you practice today's topic.
Also, let us know in the comments. What's one step you'll take to develop your growth mindset starting today?
We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences.
Thank you for joining us on Podcast and Chill, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, keep learning, and keep growing.
Bye for now. Welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm your host, Leo, who loves to chill, and joining me is my calm and wise co-host, Gwen.
Oh, come on, Leo. I'm not as great as you think I am.
No, Gwen, I'm just saying the facts.
Anyway, hello, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well.
Okay, Gwen, but before we begin the podcast, I want to ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
You said to me earlier that you are not great as I think you are, right?
Yep.
So do you sometimes feel like you are not good enough?
Wow, that's a good question, Leo. I do sometimes. Life can feel stressful, and all I worry is about falling behind others.
I see. I think everyone feels that way at some point. It's normal to question ourselves sometimes. I had those moments too.
Really?
Yes, many people feel the same way. Seeing other people's achievements makes them insecure. As a result, they keep wondering if they're good enough, and comparison starts.
I see. After all, I don't think it's a big deal. Our worth is so much greater than insecurities and comparisons.
That's right, Gwen. And today, we'll talk about why we feel like we're not good enough and how to handle it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our episode today.
We've also made a free PDF with tips and vocabulary to help you on your English learning journey. Now, let's get started. So, Leo, have you ever wondered why you feel this way?
Well, I think a big part of it comes from comparison. We see people on social media living perfect lives, and it's hard not to feel less than. Sometimes it's the pressure from our society. We are often told to look or act a certain way or achieve big things. As a result, we feel pressured to constantly follow high standards.
For me, social media really messes with my head. One minute I'm scrolling, seeing someone's dream vacation or amazing career news, and the next I'm thinking, what am I even doing with my life?
I get that. Social media shows only the highlights, not the struggles. The filtered version of someone else's life.
Right? I mean, everyone rarely posts about their bad days or their mistakes. For me, growing up, it wasn't even social media. It was seeing people at school who seemed to have everything: looks, good grades, a lot of friends. Because of that, I kept comparing myself to them, thinking I would never measure up to them.
I see. But after all, I understood that no one feels good enough all the time. Even the people who seem confident have moments of doubt.
So, how do you know if you or someone else feels like they're not good enough?
Let's start with the inner signs, the things we feel but might not share. One big thing here is self-doubt. It's that little voice in your head saying, "You're not smart enough," or "You'll never be good at this." Another thing is the need to stay perfect all the time.
I read that an expert from the British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy said people who feel not good enough often pretend they're fine, even when they're struggling in relationships, family, or work. Is there another sign?
It's seeking approval from others. You might find yourself asking, "Was that okay?" after every little thing, just to hear someone say you did well. And this feeling often shows up on the outside too. For example, some people avoid challenges because they're scared of failing. I noticed I did this when I'm feeling insecure, like I'm trying to make myself smaller so I don't upset anyone.
I think the last sign is people pleasing. Saying yes to things you don't want to do because you're scared that people will think less of you. If you see these signs in yourself, just know that it's totally okay. You're not alone, and there are ways to work through it.
And if you see these signs in someone else, show them kindness.
Let's take a look at 5 key phrases from today's discussion. Follow high standards. To do things in a way that is excellent or very good. Example: a good student follows high standards by studying hard and doing their homework.
Filtered. Something has been changed or edited, often to make it look or sound better. Example: photos on social media are often filtered to look perfect. Or, the news article was filtered to remove unwanted information.
Measure up. To be good enough or equal to something. Example: is your new phone measuring up to your old one?
Pretend. To act like something is true, even if it's not real. Example: let's pretend we're superheroes and save the day.
Seek approval from. To ask someone if they like what you're doing or if you're doing it right. Example: don't just seek approval from everyone. Do what you think is right.
Now, let's discuss something more important. It's understanding that our worth isn't about what we achieve.
Yes, this took me so long to figure out. I used to think, if I win that award or gain more money, I'll finally feel enough. But guess what? When I got those things, I wasn't satisfied at all. The feeling just didn't stick around.
That's because true self-worth doesn't come from what we achieve or how others see us. It actually comes from inside ourselves.
It's about recognizing your own true value. Things like your kindness, strengths, and the little things that make us unique.
Exactly. Sometimes we chase things just to prove we're good enough to the world. But let's take a short moment and look inside yourself. You yourself are a treasure already. You just don't know how valuable and worthy you are.
Wow, that are such deep words, Leo. You don't usually speak like this.
I know. Surprised, huh? I just like to act silly to make people laugh.
Okay. Now, can you think of something about yourself that makes you proud, but isn't about achievement or success?
I'd say my sense of humor. I love making people laugh. It really feels amazing when I can make someone smile, especially if they've been having a tough day. Seeing my friends smile because of something I said is the best feeling. What about you, Gwen? What makes you feel proud?
For me, it's my ability to listen. I think listening is such an amazing gift. People often tell me they feel seen and understood when we talk, and that means so much to me. It's not about fixing their problems, it's just being there for them.
See? That's what I like about you, Gwen. It's not about your achievements, it's how you make people feel. You make them feel heard and valued, and that's so powerful.
Thanks, Leo. I appreciate that. And I feel the same way about you. And what about our listeners? I'm sure each of you has your own gift to share with the world.
Don't think about your insecurities. Just take some time to slow down and reflect.
When you feel like you are ready, just tell us in the comments. I truly believe that once you start seeing your strength, you will stop comparing yourself to others.
Wise words, Gwen. Once we start believing in our ability, there are a lot of ways to remind ourselves of our value. One of them is recognizing little achievements. It's not about the things you achieve because you want to compete with others. It's about valuing what makes you proud of yourself.
Exactly. We often focus so much on big goals that we forget the small steps we've taken. Maybe you cleaned your space today, helped a friend, or even just got out of bed when you didn't feel like it. I used to think only big achievements mattered, but I've learned that every little step counts. For example, last week I finally organized my closet. It's not world-changing, but it felt so satisfying once completed.
That's a great example. And remember, learning and growth take time. No one starts out perfect. Think about learning to ride a bike. How many times did you fall before you got it right?
Right. Here is a quote I got from my experience. Failure isn't the end, it's part of the journey. Every mistake teaches us something. You're growing every day, even when it doesn't feel like it.
So, celebrate the little things and be patient with yourself. You're doing better than you think. Let's move on with some useful phrases of today's podcast. Figure out, to understand or solve something. Example: I couldn't figure out how to use the machine, so I asked a friend for help.
Sense of humor. The ability to make things seem funny. Example, my friend has a great sense of humor. He always makes me laugh.
Feel seen and understood. To feel like someone understands your feelings and experiences. Example: when I talked to my therapist, I felt seen and understood for the first time.
Compete with, to try to be better than someone else. Example, many students compete with each other to get the highest grades.
Every little step counts. This means that even small actions can make a big difference. Example: every little step counts when you're following your passion.
Now let's ask our listeners a few questions.
First question: when was the last time you felt proud of yourself? Think of a moment when you did something kind, tried something new, or pushed through a challenge. That feeling of pride is a reminder of your strength and value.
Now, for the second question. How can you be kinder to yourself today? Maybe it's taking a break, thanking yourself for trying, or simply saying, I'm enough.
Yeah, I feel like lots of people these days don't even know how to do that.
Then, let's all learn to do this for the better.
What are your thoughts on the questions? Share your answers in the comments below. We've had a great talk today, Gwen.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at how wise you are. I always thought of you as the funny guy who loves jokes.
I know, Gwen. Glad you see this side of me. I can do a lot, especially for our dear listeners.
That's so sweet of you, Leo.
You deserve to be valued also, Gwen. Your calmness and wisdom make you so reliable.
Thank you.
What do you think about today's topic? Let us know your thoughts and experiences in the comments, as we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Goodbye, and see you next time. Hello, and welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Gwen.
And I'm Leo. Today, we're diving into a topic that's all about interest.
And how it's not always as interesting as you think.
That's right. We're exploring the habit of only doing things when you feel interested. Is it the secret to happiness?
Or is it just procrastination in disguise?
Spoiler alert, it's both.
Stick around because we'll break down the pros, the cons, and how you can live your best life without relying solely on inspiration.
All right, let's get into it. Gwen, do you agree that following your interests feels like living the dream?
Of course. But because there is a reason for it,
What's that?
Stanford University researchers have found that people who enjoy what they're doing tend to be more creative and productive.
How come?
When you're doing something you're interested in, your brain releases dopamine.
Is dopamine the feel-good chemical?
Yep. And think about it. When you're feeling good, you're more likely to come up with new ideas and work harder.
So basically, it's like when you're doing something you love and it just feels like time is flying by, right?
Exactly. Interest fuels creativity, boosts productivity, and even makes tasks feel less like work.
And honestly, when you're interested, you're unstoppable.
But let's be real. Not everything is exciting forever.
That's true.
And that's where things get tricky. Here's the flip side. Waiting for interest can be a trap.
A trap?
So, if you only rely on feeling interested, it's easy to put things off until the last minute.
And that could mean missing deadlines or not getting things done at all.
That's what I want to say. It can lead to procrastination and missed opportunities.
So, relying solely on interest is not the best way to get things done, right?
Right?
But what about creativity? Wouldn't forcing it kill the magic?
Actually, no. The more consistent effort you put in, the more creative you become.
How does that even work?
It's like building muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get.
So, if you're waiting for that eureka moment, you might be waiting a long time.
Let's say that.
Well, remember folks, don't wait for your inspiration to hit.
Yep, and your goals will thank you later.
But Gwen, isn't it hard to start doing something that you're not interested in?
It is. That's why one must find their motivation beyond their own interests.
Please hit us with the wisdom.
It's all about connecting tasks to a bigger purpose.
Can you elaborate?
Think about the benefits for your future self or how it helps others.
Does that really help?
Well, it seems to make sense, especially considering self-determination theory.
What's self-determination theory?
This theory, developed by psychologists Edward D.C. and Richard Ryan, suggests that when tasks align with personal values, you're more likely to stick with them.
So, how can I find the motivation to study for a test?
Let's think about it as a way to move forward in life.
But what if my big goal is just naps?
Well, maybe your bigger goal should be something more productive first, then reward yourself with a nap afterward.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some new phrases today. First, come up with something. It means to think of or create an idea or solution. For example, we need to come up with a plan for the party.
Second, put something off. It means to delay or postpone doing something. For example, I always put off doing my homework until the last minute.
Third, rely on something. It means to depend on something or trust it to work. For example, I rely on my phone to keep track of my schedule.
Fourth, hit someone with something. It means to surprise someone with unexpected news or information. For example, he hit me with the news that he's moving to another country.
Finally, stick with something. It means to continue doing something even if it's hard. For example, I'll stick with learning English no matter what. Now, let's discuss 2 questions about our topic.
First question, what can happen if you wait for interest to do something? For me, waiting for interest can lead to procrastination, missed deadlines, and uncompleted tasks. What about you, Leo?
I agree. You might keep delaying the work until it's too late and end up feeling stressed.
Second question, how can you stay motivated to do something you're not interested in?
I think you can stay motivated by connecting it to a bigger purpose, like how it helps your future self or others.
Exactly. When you think about the benefits, it makes it easier to stay on track.
What do you think, listeners?
Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Gwen, you know it's always easier said than done, right?
And that's where discipline comes in. When your motivation dips, discipline helps you keep going.
So, you're saying discipline is like the backup plan when my excitement runs out?
I like your comparison. Discipline is what helps you keep moving forward, even when you're not feeling inspired.
How do we even do that?
Setting up a routine might be good. You don't have to think about it too much. You just show up, do the work, and the consistency builds over time.
I guess by doing that, we're less likely to get distracted by our moods or lack of interest.
Yep, it's about doing what needs to be done, even when it's not thrilling.
So, I have this routine of eating my vegetables first in every meal. Is that considered discipline?
I think so. At least your digestive system will be grateful.
You're not wrong. And I also notice that once my habit is in place, progress becomes easier.
Right, just steady, consistent effort and you'll see the results.
But I don't want to give up my hobbies.
Who said you had to?
You told me not to wait for my interest to strike.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to ditch them completely. It's all about finding a balance.
What do you mean by balance?
Well, a study by Stanford University found that people who balance work and leisure tend to be more productive and creative.
So, do you mean we must follow our interests without ignoring responsibilities?
Yep,
That sounds tough.
it's about managing your time effectively.
So, how do you manage your time effectively?
I divide my day into blocks of time for work, hobbies, and rest.
So, you mean like planning out chunks of time for specific tasks?
Of course, in that way, you're more likely to keep everything in check.
How does that work?
By organizing your time, you ensure you're giving attention to both your work and your passions.
So, it's a way to stay productive while still having time for fun stuff?
Pretty much. It's the best approach, in my opinion.
But what if I just schedule more free time?
Then you'll need to schedule an intervention.
Fair enough. But Gwen, don't you think some tasks can be really boring? And it's hard to do them without getting bored.
Like what?
Like folding laundry.
Hey, doing laundry is not boring at all.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I guess you're right about that. Some mundane tasks feel like a chore unless I can make them more interesting.
Drop your tips, Gwen. How do you make them more interesting?
One thing that works for me is turning them into a game.
Can you elaborate?
Like when I clean my room, I pretend it's a race to see how fast I can finish, just to make it feel less, boring.
I must admit that's a great way to make it more fun.
You can also add music or a podcast to the mix. Suddenly, it doesn't feel as much like work.
I did that a few times. I was doing something productive, but I was also getting to enjoy my favorite singer's new releases.
Same here. I often go to Spotify, put on my favorite playlist, and make it like a mini dance party while I clean.
Definitely makes it less painful.
And sometimes it's not even about the task itself.
If so, what's it about then?
It's about the way you approach it.
I'm not sure I get what you mean.
What I mean is that if you change your mindset and see it as a chance to practice focus or improve efficiency, it might actually feel more rewarding.
That's a solid point. But I have this one better idea though.
What idea?
What if I just never fold laundry again and embrace the wrinkled look?
All right. Let's move on before you lose all credibility. Leo, do you know that successful people are often characterized by their strong habits and routines?
Really?
Yep. A study by Duke University found that those habits help them stay focused, productive, and motivated.
So, success isn't just about passion, right?
Correct. It's about habits. The little things you do every day really add up.
Sounds about right.
Leo, keep this in mind. Success is not about having a big, dramatic moment, but rather about consistent effort.
It's hard to imagine small habits can lead us to success.
Well, just think about brushing your teeth. You don't think much about it, but it keeps your teeth healthy. It's the same with your goals.
I guess those little things really do matter.
So, if you spent 10 minutes a day learning a new skill, it wouldn't seem like much. But after a year, you would be pretty good at it.
Well, I guess I'm one step closer to greatness then if I can keep brushing my teeth and learning Spanish.
You're on the right track, Leo. The more you stick to these habits, the easier it gets to stay on track and make progress.
Success, here I come.
Keep up the good work, and you'll see results before you know it.
All right, Gwen, let's look at some new keywords and phrases related to building up habits.
First, easier said than done. It means that something sounds simple, but it's difficult to actually do. For example, it's easier said than done to quit a bad habit.
Second, run out of something. It means you don't have any left of something. For example, we ran out of milk, so I couldn't make coffee this morning.
Third, set up something. It means to arrange or prepare something. For example, I need to set up the meeting room before the guests arrive.
Fourth, speak for oneself. It means to express your own opinion, not someone else's. For example, I can speak for myself when it comes to making decisions.
Finally, be on the right track. It means to be doing something in the correct way. For example, your research is great. You're definitely on the right track.
All right, Gwen, here's a question for you.
Sure, what is it?
How do you suggest making boring tasks more interesting?
I suggest turning them into a game or adding music or a podcast to make them more fun.
That's a great way to make chores feel less boring. Now, your turn to ask me a question.
Okay, Leo. How do you manage your time effectively?
I divide my day into blocks of time for work, hobbies, and rest.
Sounds like a great way to stay organized and balanced.
All right, Gwen, we've had such a productive discussion today about how to complete tasks regardless of our interest.
You're right, Leo. I hope our listeners feel inspired to take action and make some positive changes.
Me too. Remember, even small steps can lead to big progress over time.
And don't forget, you can download the free PDF we mentioned earlier.
Yes, just click the link in the description or comments and make a copy so you can edit it yourself.
It's a great way to personalize the tips we talked about today and put them into action.
Thank you all for joining us on today's episode of Podcast and Chill.
Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments and tell us what works best for you.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and keep making progress, one step at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Leo.
And I'm Gwen.
We're so glad you're joining us today.
Today, we're diving into something that can really change your life. Habits.
Habits are the small things we do every day, but they add up and shape who we are.
So, whether it's something like drinking water in the morning or reading a book before bed, these little habits can make a big difference.
And today, we'll show you how to build habits that actually stick. Stay tuned. So, Gwen, why are habits so powerful?
Good question, Leo. Simply put, they make our days easier.
Hmm, I'm not sure I get what you mean.
Well, when something becomes a habit, your brain doesn't have to make a decision.
How come?
Your brain loves habits because they're like a shortcut to getting things done. Imagine your brain as a busy boss, always juggling a million things. Habits are like your personal assistants, taking care of the basic tasks so you can focus on the big stuff.
It's not like I have a lot of basic tasks that need to be taken care of.
You might be surprised to learn that a huge chunk of what we do every day is basically on autopilot.
A huge chunk?
According to a study from Duke University, about 40% of our daily actions are habits.
Wow, that much? So, by having habits, I can save a lot of brain power.
That's right. And the icing on the top is good habits can help you get healthier, be more productive, and feel better.
Are you saying that habits can shape our lives?
That's right. It's the little things, done every day, that make the difference.
Give me an example, please.
Like if you read just 10 minutes every day, at the end of the year, that's over 60 hours of reading.
That's like a whole month of reading.
And here's another one: drinking water first thing in the morning.
That sounds simple enough.
It really helps you wake up and feel more awake.
I usually grab coffee first. Maybe I'll try water instead and see how I feel.
Give it a go. The little habits we do every day can make a big difference in how we feel and how we do things.
All right, I'm on it. I'll start reading for 10 minutes every day. Let's see how it goes.
And before you know it, they become part of your routine already.
Gwen, I'm really curious about how habits actually form. Can you break it down for me?
Sure thing, Leo. Habits are formed through a simple loop: cue, routine, and reward.
A loop? What's the cue then?
The cue is like a trigger or a sign that gets things rolling. For example, when your alarm goes off in the morning, that's your cue to get up.
Oh, I see. So then comes the routine.
The routine is what you do after you get the cue. So when your alarm rings, your routine might be jumping out of bed and doing some quick stretches or exercises to get your day started.
Got it. And then what's the reward?
The reward is the payoff after you do the routine. It's like the good feeling you get when you're all stretched out and ready to go. You feel awake and energized.
So it's like a cycle. The cue gets me going, the routine is what I do, and the reward is how good I feel afterward.
That's right. And the more you repeat it, the easier it is to stick with it.
Wow, I think I'm finally getting the hang of how habits work. But let's admit that taking up a habit is not easy.
You're right, Leo. The key is to start small and be consistent. Don't try to dive in with a huge goal right off the bat.
How do you do that?
For example, if you want to work out, don't set a goal of an hour every day. Start with just 10 minutes.
10 minutes? That doesn't sound so bad. But will it actually make a difference?
Of course, a study by Dr. Philippa Lally at University College London found that consistency is what makes a habit stick.
So, it's all about doing it regularly, even if it's just a little bit at a time?
Yep. Think about brushing your teeth. Nobody needs to remind you, right? That's the power of consistency.
Well, yeah, that's true. I never miss it.
That's it. When you start small and keep it up, it's easier to make it part of your routine.
Sounds like I just need to stick with it and stay patient. I can do that.
Sure, you can. And so can you, our dear listeners.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some new vocabulary for today. First, icing on the top. It means something extra or special that makes a good situation even better. For example, the surprise party was great, but the cake was the icing on the top.
Second, get the hang of something. It means to learn how to do something well after some practice. For example, it took me a few tries, but I finally got the hang of cooking pasta.
Third, take up something. It means to start doing a new activity or hobby. For example, I decided to take up painting as a hobby.
Fourth, right off the bat. It means immediately or as soon as something begins. For example, he understood the problem right off the bat and started solving it.
Finally, keep it up. It means to continue doing something. For example, you're doing a great job, keep it up.
Now, let's discuss two questions about our topic. First question is, why do you think breaking tasks into small steps is important for forming habits?
It is because breaking tasks into smaller steps makes it easier to start and stay consistent without feeling overwhelmed.
That's a good point. The second question is, if you want to build a new habit, how would you start?
I'd start with a small, easy task and do it regularly until it becomes part of my routine.
What about you, listeners?
Share your answers in the comment section below. Hey Gwen, I've got this bad habit of checking my phone first thing in the morning. How do I kick that?
That's a tough one. But here's the thing, you don't have to cut it out completely.
How can I even do that?
Try replacing it with something better.
Replace it? How does that work?
Well, you could switch it up by doing something else,
For example,
like drinking a glass of water and taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply. That'll help you kick off the day on the right foot.
so you mean instead of just trying to stop the bad habit, I should fill the gap with something better?
That's right. When you replace it with a healthier habit, you're not leaving any room for the old one to creep back in.
That makes sense.
And over time, that healthy habit will stick. The more you do it, the less you'll even think about your phone.
I get it now. So, if I swap phone checking for water and a deep breath, I might actually feel better.
Exactly.
I'm gonna give it a shot tomorrow morning.
You definitely should.
But how do I know if it's actually working?
That's a great question. One way to stay on track is to track your progress.
Do you mean writing down what I do every day?
Things like that. You can keep a simple journal or use an app to keep an eye on your habits.
Does that help with maintaining my habits?
Apparently, it does. Teresa Amabile and Stephen Kramer found that when you see yourself making progress, even if it's just a little bit, it really motivates you to keep going.
Who are they?
They are two professors from Harvard.
Sound legit. So just looking back and seeing what I've done makes me want to keep going?
You've got the point.
I see. It's kind of like a reminder that I'm not just doing this for nothing.
And that positive feedback encourages you to carry on.
I feel like I need something to push me a bit more.
That's where rewards come in. You can treat yourself when you hit a goal.
Like what?
So, for example, if you keep up your habit for 30 days, you could reward yourself with something you really like. Maybe something on your wish list.
How does that work?
When you have something to look forward to, it makes it easier to stay on track.
I see. I'm with you on that.
So, a reward helps you stay focused and gives you a sense of achievement, which pushes you to keep going.
I love the idea of treating myself. I'll definitely try that for my next goal.
And don't forget, rewards help you stay consistent in the long run.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some more vocabulary today. First, cut something out. It means to remove or stop doing something. For example, I decided to cut out sugar from my diet to feel better.
Second, switch something up. It means to change or replace something to make it different. For example, let's switch up the routine today and try something new.
Third, creep back in. It means something slowly returns or reappears, often unexpectedly. For example, old habits can creep back in if you're not careful.
Fourth, give something a shot. It means to try or attempt something, even if you're not sure it will work. For example, I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'll give it a shot.
Finally, keep an eye on something. It means to watch something carefully or pay attention to it. For example, can you keep an eye on the oven? All right, Gwen, here's a question for you.
Sure. What is it?
What's a good way to break a bad habit?
I would say replacing the bad habit with a healthier one, so there's no room for the old habit to come back.
That makes sense. Now, it's your turn to ask me a question.
All right, Leo, if you're trying to stay focused, how do you keep yourself on track?
I try to break tasks into smaller steps and focus on one thing at a time.
Wise move.
So, Gwen, after everything we've talked about, what's the big takeaway?
Well, Leo, small habits really can make a big difference. It's all about starting small and sticking with it.
Yeah, just pick one habit and begin today, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes a day.
And if you keep at it, you'll see positive changes in your life.
So, what are you going to do? I'm going to start with reading for 10 minutes a day.
I love that. I'm thinking about taking up running for 10 minutes every day.
That's great. And what about you, our listeners?
Tell us what you're going to do in the comment section below.
Thanks for tuning in to Podcast and Chill. I'm Leo.
And I'm Gwen. See you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Podcast and Chill. Our beloved listeners, I'm your host, Leo, the guy who can teach you something while making you laugh.
And I'm Gwen, your informative host, here to help you get useful information.
You've heard of the word positive, right? But do you know what its power is and how do we use it correctly?
Positive thinking isn't just about feeling happy all the time. It's about learning to focus on the good things in your life, even during difficult situations.
That's right. And in this episode, we'll explain what positive thinking really is, how it can improve your health, and how you can develop this mindset in practical ways.
Remember, this podcast is made for English learners like you. So relax and enjoy learning about this life-changing topic.
Are you ready to come with us? Let's get started. Gwen, let's start with the basics. What exactly is positive thinking?
Positive thinking means looking at the good side of life while being realistic. It's not about thinking everything is perfect, but about finding solutions instead of focusing on problems.
That makes sense. I'll make an example. For example, imagine you're late for an important meeting because of traffic. Instead of saying, "My whole day is ruined," you could think, "I'll do my best to catch up when I arrive."
You got it right. Research supports this idea too. According to the Mayo Clinic, positive thinking can help people manage stress better, improve how they handle challenges, and even live longer.
That's incredible. Positive thinking isn't just about feeling better emotionally. It also has real benefits for your life.
Right? And if you're wondering how to practice this, here's a simple activity. Let's take a negative thought like, "I always make mistakes," and change it to something more positive. You could say, "Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm learning from mine." This small change can make a big difference. Speaking of benefits, Leo, how does positive thinking impact our health? Positive thinking is great for your body and mind.
When you think positively, your body makes less stress hormone, like cortisol. This helps you sleep better, strengthens your immune system, and even protects your heart.
So thinking positively can actually help us stay healthier.
A study by the American Psychological Association showed that positive people are 13% less likely to get heart disease. They also have lower blood pressure and healthier hearts.
That's a good reason to start practicing positivity today.
Yeah, the more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay positive, even in difficult situations.
Now, Leo, let's talk about how someone can develop a positive mindset. What do you think is a good first step?
We can prepare a gratitude journal. So, listeners, have you thought about how to use it to improve your positive thinking? Let me share. It's important to practice gratitude. By taking time each day to think about what you're grateful for, you can start to focus on the good things around you. Every day, you write down 3 things you're thankful for. It helps you focus on the good parts of your life, no matter how small. For example, if you feel stressed at work, You could take a break and write, I'm grateful for my health, for having a job, and for the opportunity to learn new things. This moves your focus away from what's wrong and helps your body relax.
Another simple tip is to practice positive self-talk. If you're feeling tired or stressed, instead of thinking, I can't handle this, try thinking, I'm doing my best and I can handle this moment. Your body hears your thoughts, and those positive words can lower stress and help you feel better physically.
I couldn't agree more.
Now let's learn some vocabulary below so you can understand the topic better before continuing to listen. Catch up. Definition: to make up for lost time or effort. Example: I missed the first part of the lecture, but I'll catch up by reading the notes later. Focus on someone, something. Definition: pay attention to someone or something. Example: even though the trip was short, I'm focusing on the good parts, like spending time with my family. Take a break. Definition: to pause from work or stress to relax. Example: I always take a break after studying for an hour. Be grateful for. Definition: to feel thankful for something or someone. Example: I'm grateful for my friends who always support me during tough times. Move something away. Definition: to take something or attention to a different place. Example: having a gratitude journal moves your focus away from what's wrong and helps your body relax.
Next, practice with some questions below to see how well you understand the topic. Don't forget to type your answer in the comment section to discuss with others. What example of thinking positively when being late for a meeting? Instead of thinking, my whole day is over, you could think, I'll do my best to catch up when I arrive. What health benefits are linked to positive thinking? Better sleep, lower blood pressure, and improved heart health. Now we will learn more ways to have a positive thinking. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, right? Gwen, how can we stop negative self-talk and start thinking more positively?
That's a great question, Leo. Firstly, you need to recognize when you're being negative. If you catch yourself thinking, I'll never be good at this, stop and ask yourself, is this really true?
That's a good point. When we change negative thoughts to positive ones, we start to see ourselves differently.
That's right. When we are kind to ourselves, our brain creates less stress and more happy feelings.
Oh, have you heard of toxic positivity? Some people say that if we are always positive, we will fall into a trap of our own making. What do you think, Gwen?
Actually, this opinion is completely true. But it is only true when we cannot control that positivity. Some people, even in extremely bad situations and need to solve problems, they still avoid and think that everything will be fine. That is toxic positivity. But here, we are positive to have the spirit to face the challenges ahead. This is healthy positivity.
It's eye-opening. I hope everyone remembers this and balances their positivity. What's next?
Let's talk about how positive thinking can help with setting goals.
Oh, right. I'll share how it can help us reach our dreams. One helpful tool for positive thinking is visualization. This means closing your eyes and imagining yourself reaching your goals. For example, if you're learning English, you can picture yourself speaking confidently in front of people.
Wow, that sounds like something athletes do before a big game.
Exactly. And a research from Psychology Today supports this. It found that imagining yourself doing something not only makes you more motivated, but also makes your brain act like you're really doing it. So, when you imagine success, your brain starts to believe it can happen.
I see. It's becoming more and more popular these days, especially among young people. We call it manifest, right?
Yes. People today often forget how important it is to have a positive environment. Being around happy and encouraging people can really help you stay positive.
That's so true. When others believe in you and cheer you on, It's easier to feel good about yourself.
And it goes both ways. You can share positivity too. Say something kind, cheer up a friend, or just smile. It can make someone's day better. Trust me, no one hates hearing positive things.
I agree. Being around supportive people helps both your mind and body feel better.
Last but not least, Gwen, how can we stay positive when things go wrong?
The key is to see bad things as chances to learn. Like we have shared, instead of thinking, I failed. Try thinking, what can I learn from this? This helps you look at problems in a different way. It sounds easy, but it has to be practiced. That's what makes it effective. And that's why we repeat this method so often in this podcast.
That's such a helpful way to think. It reminds me of something Thomas Edison once said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. He didn't give up. He learned from each mistake.
Exactly. Life is full of challenges, but every challenge teaches us something. When you face a problem, take a moment to look back.
And remember, be patient with yourself. It takes time to grow and improve. Every small step you take is progress, even if it doesn't feel like it at first. Keep going, and you'll see positive change over time. All right, we will learn the last 5 words for today. Make sure to practice speaking all of them. Be kind to someone. Definition: to treat someone nicely, with care and respect. Example: she was kind to her friend by helping him with his homework. Remind someone of something. Definition: to help someone remember something they may have forgotten. Face a problem. Definition: deal with a problem, not avoid it. Example: when you face a problem, try to find a solution instead of running away from it. Take time to. Definition: spend time doing something slowly and carefully. Make someone's day. Definition: to make someone feel happy or special. Example: her compliment made my day.
Lastly, let's answer the questions below. Just share your thoughts with us in the comment section. What should you do when you catch yourself thinking negatively? You can stop that thinking right away and ask yourself if the thought is really true. How can visualization help with achieving goals? Visualization helps by imagining yourself reaching your goals, which helps you to take action easier. So that's it, the power of positive thinking. We talked about how it helps with health, setting goals, and facing challenges.
We hope you feel inspired to start thinking more positively today. It's not about being perfect. It's about making small steps to see the good things in life.
And don't forget, if you liked this episode, share it with a friend who could use some positivity.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay positive, and we'll see you next time. Welcome back to another episode of Podcast and Chill, dear listeners. I'm your host, Leo, the guy who teaches you something while making you laugh.
And I'm Gwen, your informative host, here to help you understand today's topic.
Today, we have a topic that many of you might relate to. We're talking about comparison, how we compare ourselves to others, and why we should stop.
Exactly. Comparing ourselves to others can make us feel bad. But don't worry, Leo and I are going to explain why comparing can be harmful. We'll also give you simple tips to help you focus on yourself.
Are you ready to start this journey? Then let's get started.
Have you ever thought about why people compare themselves to others, Leo?
Well, people compare themselves to other people for different reasons. Some want to know how they are doing compared to others. Others feel stress from friends or society.
Oh, yeah. Comparing can help them see what they are good at and what they need to improve. But it can also make them feel sad or like they are not good enough.
So, comparing ourselves to others can be bad. Have you ever thought about why this can hurt us?
Let me explain it to you. When we compare ourselves to others, we often feel like we're not good enough. For example, if you see someone who's more successful, smarter, or better looking, you might think, why am I not like them? This can make you feel sad and stressed.
Yes, and when we focus too much on what others have achieved, we forget to work on our own progress. It's like being in a race, but you're always watching others instead of focusing on yourself. I also talk about comparison, but it's about looking back at how you've been comparing yourself over time.
Exactly. Everyone's life is different. We all have our own challenges, strengths, and goals.
So, comparing yourself to someone else is like comparing apples to oranges. It doesn't make sense.
Here's something interesting from a study by the American Psychological Association. It showed that people who often compare themselves to others are more likely to feel anxious.
That's a great point, Gwen. So, what can we do? How can we stop comparing ourselves and start feeling better about our lives? Let's talk about that next. One good way is to focus on your own progress. Even small steps are important. Gwen, how can our listeners see their progress?
Well, Leo, you can look back at where you started. For example, if you're learning English, think about how much better you are now than a few months ago. Maybe before you couldn't understand English movies, but now you can understand some words. That's progress.
Yes, remember, progress takes time.
You can't learn English in just one day, but if you practice every day, you will get better.
A good way to see your progress is to write it down. Keep a notebook. Each week, write one thing you did better. For example, this week I learned 10 new words, or I spoke English with my friends.
That's a great idea. You can also make a success board. Put notes or pictures of your achievements. This will help you see your progress.
Yes, even small steps are still steps forward. Even if you feel slow, you're still moving forward.
Do you think social media can stop us from feeling good? Let's talk about it.
Oh, yes. Social media like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's everywhere. Social media can be fun, but it can also make us feel bad about ourselves. Gwen, why do you think social media makes us compare more?
Well, Leo, on social media, people only show the best parts of their lives. You see nice pictures, happy moments, and big wins. But you don't see the hard times, the failures, or the problems they don't show.
That's so true. It's easy to look at someone's vacation photos or a friend's new job and think, why isn't my life like that? But what you see online is not the whole story.
We don't see the tough moments on Instagram or Facebook. Someone might show a picture of their new car, but they don't show the hard work they did to get it.
Or someone might post a picture looking great, but they don't show the effort it took to look that way.
So next time you look at social media, remember, you're only seeing the good stuff. Instead of comparing, think about what you're doing well.
And now, we will learn some vocabulary from today's podcast episode. You can take out your notes to learn these words. Comparison. Definition. The process of comparing two or more people or things. Example. Comparing yourself to someone else is like comparing apples and oranges. Challenge. Definition. Something difficult that needs a lot of effort to do. Example. Everyone's life is different. We all have our own challenges and strengths. Achieve. Definition. To reach a goal or complete something important. Example. When we pay too much attention to what others have achieved, we forget to focus on our own progress. Strength. Definition. Something you are good at or strong in. Example. Everyone has strengths. Some people are good at sports, others are creative. Progress. Definition. The process of improving or developing something. Example. Even small steps are important for your own progress.
It's time to practice with 2 questions related to the topic of the episode. Focus on the question and answer as best you can. Please type your answer below in the comment section to discuss with others listeners. Question 1. Why is it important to focus on your own progress instead of someone else's success? Because watching your own progress helps you grow. Everyone is different, so don't compare. Question 2 is, how can you avoid comparing yourself to others when using social media? You can remind yourself that social media shows only the best parts of life, not the whole story. Just focus on your own strengths and progress, and take breaks from it if needed. Let's continue. I see a lot of people worry that they are not as good as others, and it's hard for them to think in a positive way. What do you think, Leo?
Everyone has strong points, even if they're different from others. Some people are great at sports, others are creative, or maybe you're good at solving problems. It's important to recognize your own strengths and focus on developing them.
If you're good at writing but not great at speaking English, don't feel bad about your speaking. Focus on getting better at writing first.
That's a great example. You don't have to be good at everything. You just need to focus on what you're naturally good at and what makes you happy.
Yes, and it's okay if your strengths are different from others. Maybe your friend is great at public speaking, but you're really good at organizing and planning. They are both valuable skills.
When you become more confident, you can also start to get better at speaking. This will help you stop looking at others and feel good about what you can do.
Have you ever thought about celebrating your own journey? A lot of us feel like we're not doing enough. It's because we only think about the final goal, like learning English, finishing school, or getting a job. But the small things you do today are as important as the big ones later.
Let's see one more example. You've been practicing English for a few weeks now, but you still feel like you're not good enough. You might think, I'll never speak English fluently. But if you look at your journey, you might realize that you can understand simple sentences or say a few phrases. That's progress, and it's something to celebrate.
Here's a practical tip. Every time you make even a little bit of progress, give yourself a small reward. It could be something simple like watching an episode of your favorite TV show or treating yourself to something you enjoy.
You can also write things in your notebook like, I had a short talk in English today, or I learned 10 new words this week. Every step forward counts, no matter how small.
Now, let's talk about how to appreciate other people's success without comparing yourself to them. Think about when you have a friend who is really good at speaking English. Instead of comparing yourself to them and feeling sad, you can think, wow, they worked hard to get there. Maybe I can ask them for some tips on how to improve my speaking skills.
That's a great mindset. Someone else's success doesn't mean you're not successful too. We're all on different paths, and we can all succeed in our own ways.
Moreover, everyone moves at their own speed. It's okay if you take longer to reach your goals than your friend.
Other people's successes don't take away from yours. There's enough success for everyone. Supporting others can also make you feel good and motivated. It's a win-win. Now, let's talk about something that can really help us feel better. It's accepting yourself.
When you practice it, you can recognize that you are enough just as you are. You don't need to be perfect or like someone else to be valuable.
A great way to practice it is through taking a few moments each day to focus on your breathing. This can help you let go of negative feelings and focus on the present.
Yes, studies show that it can reduce stress and improve mental health. When you accept yourself, you stop comparing and feel happier. So remember, you don't have to be like anyone else. You are enough, and your journey is unique. Valuable. Definition. Something that is important or useful. Example. Both public speaking and organizing are valuable skills. Celebrate. Definition. To show happiness for something good that has happened. Example: you should celebrate your own journey and achievements. Mindset. Definition: the way you think about something. Example: having a positive mindset can help you appreciate your own progress. Path. Definition: an action or a direction in life that a person chooses to follow. Example: we can all succeed in our own paths. Unique. Definition: being the only one of its kind. Example: everyone's journey is unique.
Let's continue practicing with the next two questions. What is meant by strong points? Can you give an example? Strong points are the skills or traits that someone is really good at. For example, being good at writing or being a great leader. What does the podcast say about the importance of supporting others? Helping others makes a positive space where people want to work together. It helps build friendships and makes everyone feel important. So, it is the end of our discussion today.
Remember, stop comparing yourself, focus on your own progress, and celebrate your journey. You're doing great.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope this episode helped you learn some new English phrases, as well as some useful tips for your life. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore, send us a message.
Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. See you next time.